Gibson Performance Exhaust has invited us behind closed doors as they install and test a catback exhaust with shorty headers on a Ford F-150. A baseline dyno run will give us the numbers we need to compare the stock exhaust with the bolt-on Gibson system.
On all the new vehicles, the OBD2 computers, there's really only so much power you can actually gain from doing bolt-on performance. And let's just say, I'm going to throw a number out there, let's just say 50 horsepower is the max you're going to gain. On the Ford, the headers and the exhaust is going to probably get you about 30% of that max gain you're trying to go at. Vehicles do vary, but the Ford does have a lot of room for improvement because they tried to keep it quiet as possible. So they have restricted it quite a bit, and it's allowing us to do quite a bit of improvement.
After laying down 241 peak horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque, our box stock Ford F-150 FX4 is ready for surgery.
Just take this off right here. Okay, and then you just gotta wiggle this thing out. And you just kind of push this. Yeah, it just kind of gets out of your way so you get more room to get up in there.
Now that the Y-pipe and cats are out of the way, one of the truck's skid plates is removed to allow access to the tailpipe and muffler. Once the pipe clamp is loose, a pry bar is used to leverage them from their rubber mounts. While they get started pulling the cast iron manifolds, let's learn how Gibson tunes their mufflers.
This is what we call an offset muffler, where basically the inlet is offset from the outlet. So this piece would slide onto here and be pressed into that case. So if you look here, the inlets are offset from the outlets. Now you can adjust the flow by having the outlet pipe bypass these inlet pipes. Now obviously the more you slide it on, the more restriction you're going to create. The more you pull out, the more flow you're going to get. Some mufflers will have gaps here, some mufflers will completely bypass each other. That's where we get the term bypass chambered muffler. It's easy to make a system loud and perform well. The hard part is making it be more on the quiet side and perform well. And that's kind of what you use these louvers and the location of the chambers inside the muffler to get to that point where you want to be, which is a good mellow sound, nothing annoying, but give you a good power and torque curve, and in the long run benefits you in fuel economy as well.
Back in the shop, the new shorty headers wait for the last bolts to be removed from the old manifolds.
A stock manifold is very restrictive, just like a stock exhaust or a stock muffler. There's a lot of resistance there. Normally we can increase the amount of flow on a stock manifold 50 to 70 CFM per side. I mean, we can increase the flow 200 CFM and make it run wide open, and you're going to see a good horsepower increase. You're going to see the horsepower increase at a high RPM. Usually at max RPM, which most daily drivers don't see high RPMs. They're usually in the range of 3,200 RPM, and that's where we design most of our products to come in and give you the power. So it's basically more usable performance.
All right.
The left side manifold, gasket, and studs are out. Now it's on to the right side.
Uh, 90% of the products on the market are all street legal, smog legal. The shorties are normally going to be a header for a daily driver. When I say shorty, it's basically a manifold replacement. You pull your stock manifold off and bolt the header directly to your factory Y pipe and to the head.
Here's a nice detail. The headers have slots instead of holes along the top. This allows you to use the header bolts to hold the gaskets in place while you slide in the header, and everything lines up. Let's see it in action.
Go.
The shorties are torqued to the head, but not the ball coupler at the Y-pipe.
Just kind of snug them up a little bit, especially since we got the cap back off.
The exhaust systems fit well in part due to Gibson's CAD data machine. Check it out.
What this allows us to do is take a prototyped piece, which is in numerous different pieces, and turn it into a production part and give us one solid part from the manual bender. What he's doing here now is he's going to scan all the bends and all the straight pieces and get all the radiuses and circumferences of the part. And after doing this, you basically hit send, and it sends it out to the bender and bends you out one solid piece. Once you have that piece, you take it to the vehicle and you do a check fit, make sure it fits perfectly, make a couple changes, and then you have a production part, and you fixture it and send it on its way.
With both headers in, we grab our catback system. It's claimed to be reasonably quiet and boost mid-range power. Just a few more steps and we'll see for sure. It's recommended that we have 2 inches of overlap inside the muffler, both on the inlet and the outlet side. Now comes the fun part. We measure the 2-inch depth and then line up the tailpipe hangers with their 2 rubber grommets and the outlet of the muffler at the same time. Like that. With all the pieces lined up under the truck, it's time to tighten everything from front to back.
That's the proper torque. Tight. And we'll take a look, and you just kind of look up there and see after tightening it. See, we got a nice, good fit on that ball seat right there. So we'll get a nice, good seal. The clamp on. I'm going to show you a little trick here. Is we clamp it right like this way. Okay. And you spin it 180. And what this does is it makes sure you get a good clamp on it, and it stays tight and everything. And if you notice, you see how I put the clamp is I put it close enough to the edge. You know what I mean? Because the pipe's all the way into here. So you're clamping all the way out here, you're getting a real good seal like that. Slide our tip on. And you can put it out, in or out, whatever your preference is. Tighten her up. We're good to go.
Sounds great. Now it's time to see what this Gibson exhaust can do on the dyno.
We use both bolt-on shorty headers that bolt up to the factory manifold and a catback which bolts up behind the catback. By doing both these modifications, we're showing about 13 horsepower and roughly 30 foot-pounds of torque between 3,100 RPM and 4,200 RPM. This just kind of goes to prove that sound doesn't necessarily mean power. This system is a fairly quiet system. It's in fact only 2 decibels louder than the stock system, so really it's not much of a noticeable difference, but the power is where you're going to see, feel the difference.